All right, before we get started today, we wanted to give a shout out to our patrons over on Patreon. You can find links to that by going to wisconsindrunkenhistory.com. But right now we have Eric Sari, Andy Herbrand, and Lauren L. Those are the ones keeping the lights on, and we really appreciate it. And hey, go check it out on wisconsindrunkenhistory.com. You can go to the Patreon page and see a little bit more about what Patreon really is and how you can sort of help.
Eric, cue up that intro.
Hey, welcome to the Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast. We are your hosts, Eric Sturgeon.
And I'm Russell Sari.
This podcast is about all things Wisconsin: history, music, culture, and beer. Although we don't often use strong language, the content is not intended for young audiences, so listener discretion is advised.
If you love the bluegrass music you hear in this intro, please check out Dang It's from Madison, Wisconsin by visiting their website, dang-its.com. Now on to the show.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast, your weekly dose of the Dairy State. We are your hosts, as always, Eric.
And I'm Russ.
And today we have an episode regarding some Beloit, Wisconsin, that Rock County history that some of you may not be aware of. So we are talking about an item that we see on every vehicle that we all drive. That is the odometer. Some of you use it, some of you don't. The speedometer as well. Some of you use it, some of you don't. These were invented right here in Wisconsin. So a little piece of cool history
stuff
that you may not even know, but you've seen. And this one I find especially interesting. So we have great Wisconsin music in this episode from Ewes. We have another brew review. We have another installment of How Many Locals You At? And we have an interview with Hurricane Jerry, the Hurricane Jerry.
Yeah, it's awesome to have him on the show.
Fish icon, And as always, please, hey, go out, rate, like, review, subscribe, do all the stuff. Follow us on the social medias. We've made it very easy for you. If you just go to wisconsindrunkenhistory.com, you will find links to literally all that stuff. We've got our Facebook and our Instagram links right there, as well as the Patreon page, which is right there, and our TeePublic page where you can find all your new sick tank tops for the summer that it is. So you can rock our logo right on your chest when you're out on the lake getting sunburnt and fried. So without going way too into detail here about the Patreon, essentially for less than the cost of basically a Starbucks per month, you're going to be able to get some extra content. Now we haven't had a whole lot of extra content as of late. Because we're still trying to film and put everything together.
And I've been traveling a lot too. It doesn't help. My job is pretty demanding, so it doesn't help us out at all.
We do have a lot of stuff in the pipeline planned. So our friend Andy, who is a patron on Patreon, also put it really well by saying, hey, it'd be like if you were down at the local watering hole and an old friend walks in that you haven't seen in a while. It's basically the cost of buying that guy a round of a shot or something.
Exactly.
Just to say, hey, man, haven't seen you in a bit. Really glad you came out. So thank you for doing all that you do, no matter what that is. Even if you're just listening, we really, truly appreciate it. And just please continue to do that. That's the number one thing. Enjoy it. Reach out to us if you have suggestions, whether that be suggestions of bands or OWI articles for the How Many Locos segment, or just to say hey, because we enjoy all of those. And we've been reading our Apple Podcast reviews at the end of episodes as well.
I love hearing those. It's so cool.
It's absolutely great. I love it. So honestly, we don't want to keep you too long here in the intro. So let's move to the main segment. Our story today on the invention of the odometer and speedometer.
So many of us see this item every day and probably overlook it, when you're driving down the street. But we do, however, check speeds to make sure we are not getting a visit from the boys in blue, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
The cops, baby. Many don't know, but the odometer and speedometer were started right here in our backyard in Beloit, Wisconsin. Eric, how high have you made it on an odometer? Have you made it pretty high?
No, not really. I mean, the Explorer maybe had like 100 and, I don't know, 50.
It's pretty good.
I mean, none of my vehicles have really gotten very high.
I know in high school I had that Volvo 240.
Oh,
that
yeah.
sucker hit over 300.
Remember that stopped right in the middle of the intersection in Janesville? And we
that
had to
sucked.
push that
And
bastard.
then I got to go to get it. Made it over 300,000 miles,
Yeah.
which is just insane. So,
Cool car.
So around the late 19th century, vehicles were starting to become the norm. This was starting to become the norm on all the streets, replacing the horse and carriage, right? So the vehicles are taking over. The horse and carriage are becoming more or less,
The new motorized buggy, if you will.
Yeah. And in the beginning, this was not much of an issue because the vehicles were slow in the beginning. Like we talked about in the J.W. Carhart episode, it wasn't much area for concern for the
They were just
speedometer.
glad that they could get from
Right.
Green Bay or from Milwaukee to Madison, I think it was.
I mean, we were talking like 5 miles per hour with the boilers that they had on them.
Yeah.
They weren't very fast.
Loud as hell, too.
But as automobile developments occurred and the cars started becoming much faster, this started to become an issue. And Beloit brothers Arthur P. and Charles H. Warner would come to the call. Their first patent was called the Odometer, which could reach speeds up to 60 miles per hour, and also kept track of the distance on how far the vehicle went. So
Slow down.
Yeah, I know. Before these two brothers became the famous Arthur, they worked on this all their way up through the ranks of the Northern Electric Company in Madison, Wisconsin. At the age of 27, becoming heads of the company in the Milwaukee office. He was self-educated in electrical engineering, but also had a massive sales background. And he would start to gain a reputation through his wood electric car, in which he used to help advertise with the Northern Electric Company. And he actually took this on the road and was like, hey, I made an electric car. It's running on the stuff from this company before electric cars were even a big thing, right?
That's amazing.
And yeah, so Arthur also, I didn't put this in my research, but Arthur P. Warner was also the first one to fly in the state of Wisconsin. He's the first flight.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy, right? I mean, the guy has a lot of... He's a smart person, right? And very influential.
Absolutely amazing.
So, and he was self-educated in electrical engineering, but also had massive sales background, which is great, right? If you have that engineering and that sales, that personnel, you can do big things.
Dual threat,
Right. And he would start to gain a reputation, and it's cool to have the electrical engine. And, before the hybrid vehicles were taken off right here in our state. And while driving around Milwaukee, he realized that he needed to come up with a way to measure acceleration to show that actual speed that he was going, thus leading the Warner brothers to work together, and they developed an initial magnetic device called the cut meter to serve as a speed indicator for industrial machines, right? So this is like... They're showing how fast this thing's turning, how fast things are coming out. That's all it's monitoring. It's not yet adapted for the vehicle.
Got it.
And they felt machines across the country would benefit from such a device. And he offered to sell the device to GE, which is the GE, right? The General
Electric, yeah.
After it was perfected, they turned him down, but not seeing the benefit or the vision of this device. And he would have returned from New York back to Beloit, Wisconsin. They decided to do their own thing, as they knew the market could benefit from this instrument. And in 1903, they produced the cut meters themselves.
Wow.
While out on the road trying to sell the cut meter in Chicago, one client said that this may not be the best device for today's time, but would also be a great adaptation for vehicles, right? I mean, you're measuring speed and time by a rotation, right? So this is perfect.
Right.
Thus sparking the idea for the first Odometer. And before he returned home, he had already sold 5 of them to shop owners and his friends for $75 each, which is huge at that time. $75 is
a lot of money.
Bit of money. Yeah. And just for reference, this is as expensive as a piano from the Sears and Roebuck's catalog, right? This is not cheap.
Rears and Sorbutts?
The item was the first promoted as a luxury gadget. However, everyone wanted one, and sales boomed even at this cost. Due to this period, more and more vehicles are showing up on the streets, and everyone wanted this little device from Beloit, Wisconsin. And due to the magnets, it was far superior than the alternative designs that actually did exist at this time. It also reduced the number of parts in the device compared to the centrifugal way of that the competitors were using to gauge speed and time, right? And due to the dependability, this thing sold like hotcakes and would eventually lead the brothers to improve the design. And they later added speed, distance, and a clock to the device, as well as a lighted dial for ease of reading at night. The device was also great for people going long distances as they had to go by map and could easily mark off where they were navigating, right? I mean, this helps out at this time. I mean, when you're driving in the middle of the night, there's no streetlights, right?
Right.
So it's perfect.
And I'm sure then there was no streetlights at all.
And before this, many people had to use books, old school navigation, and the things that all grown men hate, asking for directions.
Oh yeah,
right.
So
Nobody wants to do that.
He had navigation in there.
Yeah, right. Nobody want to do that, right?
He invented Google Maps.
Hey, I can do it. Let's turn it right at the rock, and then you end up in some fucking backwoods country. You're getting deliverance in the backwoods. Screw like a piggy, boy.
Oh boy,
son of a biscuit. I turned right on the wrong street.
Yeah, now I'm in a pit.
So due to the word spreading all over about this new great device and competitor of the Stewart and Clark Company in Chicago, who had abandoned the centrifugal model as they wanted to start producing a magnetic style, right? Like, this is the better top-notch thing of the time. Let's copy it. So they reverse engineered it. And the Warner Brothers ended up catching wind of the ceiling design and sued the company in 1912 for $1.8 million, which in this time is just complete insanity, right? Just insanity. And though the company lost most of everything, the Warner Brothers would eventually end up selling to the Stewart and Clark Company, and the company changed the name to Stewart Warner. And by the 1920s, Warner magnetic speedometers were actually in 90% of all the vehicles being made at the time, thus becoming standard equipment on the vehicle, which we know today, right? You see it on every vehicle, you see the lights, speedometers, and the odometer in every car.
Yeah.
And these brothers would continue to go on to make improvements on the automobiles, such as trailers, electric brakes, and clutches, which most of the business was conducted right out of Beloit, Wisconsin. Right there, right on the border there, right by Illinois. We're not considering it Illinois, so fuck off. The company became known throughout the world and the United States, even being the official timers for the Indy 500 race for several years. And to this day, if you happen to win the Indy 500, you would be receiving what is known as the Borg-Warner Trophy. Isn't that pretty cool? And just another example of the Wisconsin awesomeness is many great and important people and inventors in our state. And a lot of people don't realize how crazy our state is with inventions and stuff. It's nuts. Eric, what are your thoughts? I mean,
I don't know really much about, you mentioned a couple different ones in here, that there was competition at the time. There was a centrifugal version. There was the magnetic version. They used a magnetic version and it was considered more superior.
Yes.
My brain doesn't necessarily work in the same way as others. And if I were shown a diagram and somebody were to explain the inner workings of it, that'd be awesome. For me, I couldn't even imagine where to begin.
So I can kind of explain this a little bit. So these other ones I've had a lot of gears and stuff that are recording the time, right? But this one is actually a magnet spinning in circles, right? And what it does is it notches the next dial to 1, 2,
based on the
3.
wheel rotation.
Right, based on the wheel rotation. So the magnet's rotating, and it can tell you how many times it's passing per minute.
Got it.
It can tell you each time it goes around, so it's pushing the odometer around in circles.
So there must be some sort of, like you said, an internal gear.
It's impressive.
That's reduced to small size to match the same rotation as the larger wheel that's outside.
Exactly. And we're talking about the 1920s here, and it's pretty impressive.
Fuck yeah.
I mean,
the car was barely invented at that time. And then you're going to sit here and tell me that they made this sort of an advancement on it right away.
It's crazy because think about it.
And it wasn't standard equipment. It was something that you had to buy from this, Rears and Sorebutts catalog in order to add it to your car. That's fucking insane.
So just think about it. You have an 18-inch wheel, right? So you can find the circumference based on the 18-inch wheel.
Mm-hmm.
You know that the 18-inch wheel, if you have the circumference, that's the distance it's traveling per spin. So this guy had to come up with all this mathematics and calculations to figure this out. It's just impressive.
He had to stay sober long enough to jot this shit down.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But again, that's the speedometer, odometer. We're talking about Arthur P. and Charles H. Warner. We hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was really impressive to find out this information. The cool thing was Arthur P. Warner is the first flight in Wisconsin. That's incredible, right?
Yeah. And especially because at this time, it wasn't like there was no regulations. There was no, aviation group that would not allow somebody who's inexperienced to get up in a plane. So this guy very well had no flight hours logged before he was just like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to try flying.
A few years early, the Wright brothers first went up, honestly, to be honest with you. So it's pretty crazy that they even attempted it, but that's just amazing to me.
What a nut job.
So that's going to conclude the main segment, and now on to our music segment.
All right, so now we have a great Wisconsin band, Ewes. They are from Rock County
County,
itself.
Janesville, Beloit area.
Yeah.
I know Wilden Hughes for a while. Actually, how I met him was posting an ad on Craigslist looking for a band, like a Strokes type band, like indie alternative, kind of that angular riffs.
Right.
And we just kind of became, we talked to each other. He's just a really cool guy. He's a farmer. The blue corn chips you're going to find in the store, his dad actually produces them, and he helps
all
those blue corn chips. Super good. This band, Ewes, phenomenal, right? They have like that almost Tame Impala, like psychedelic experimental feel to them.
Yeah.
They also have that like Postal Service type lyrical, kind of repetitive, like electronics, but they also have just phenomenal instruments. And just a great band out of the Janesville, Wisconsin, Beloit, Wisconsin area, the Rock County area. In this episode, we're kind of keeping it all Wisconsin, like all Rock County.
Yeah.
And this was just a perfect match. I had to reach out. Wilden Hughes is just a great person all around. But yeah, check this band out. They're Ewes, and this one is Dead Furrow.
Life takes most of my time. I can't seem to find a way to strike the line.
All right. Again,
Super cool.
that was double Ewes, and they are, man, I'm telling you what, that is some stuff that I wouldn't have even considered to try. Like,
It's just neat. It's experimental.
It's so good.
It is good.
it's just out there, which is amazing to me. I love it. So check them out. Find them on their social media and through Spotify, Bandcamp. You know, the normal stuff. And we have a beer review for you. And again, in keeping this on brand for the Rock County type stuff, we're going to Gray's Brewery.
Yeah, this one's one of my favorite from Gray's. It's the Bully Porter, and man, is this one a good beer. It's coming in at the 4.95% ABV. The Bully Porter, let's talk about the art first, right? There's a bulldog straight up mean mugging me right now. He's looking me down.
Yeah.
He's just mean mugging me. It's on like a wood background. You get like this like little farmhouse wood background. It's great, and it's one of the first craft brews besides Sierra Nevada that got me started into the craft brewery.
Oh, sure.
Like the Bully Porter was one of the first ones because of right in my backyard. I lived in Janesville, just so any of you know. I used to live in Janesville on Garfield Avenue. Yep. And this one got me started, and let me say, this one is great. You're getting that like the notes of the porter you're used to, right? It's your typical porter, but it's taking it one step above. You're getting that like hints of chocolate, darkness, great for the wintertime, early fall. You know, maybe it's a little heavy for today because it's pretty warm today. Let's be honest. It's a little heavy for today, but
I mean, the ABV at 4.95 isn't going to completely ruin you. But porters, again, like you said, kind of has that ability to be just heavy.
Yeah, that chocolate, nutty, toffee,
I want to say
coffee.
Thick. I want to say thick, but milky. It just has that additional vibe to it that, you know, like I said, the ABV is not going to kill you, but the thickness of the actual beverage itself is going to sit a little harder in you. And like you said, it's more of a beer that maybe you would drink in the colder months. You know, fall would be great for this.
Yeah, you're going to get the low bitterness. There's not many hops like in the stouts and the porters.
Toffee, chocolatey, nutty.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking exactly was what I was thinking. Yeah. And, you know, it's one of those ones like if you need to warm up in the wintertime, you can have a couple of these. That helps you out. I mean, it's thick. It's like a motor oil, right? I love stouts and porters in the wintertime. Summer a little heavy. I wanted to grab this one because it is one of my favorites. And I wanted to keep things all Rock County today, which is why we went with this one. Gray's also has a great tour. They're just really nice people. They used to have it on Saturdays or Sundays. You could go on their brewery tour. It was $20. It was all you could drink all day, right? So if you could hang out for a while and actually maintain,
you were gonna hang out for a while.
You're gonna get ripped, right? But you're gonna have great beer. They have a lot of other things they offer. The honey ale. They just got a lot of good ones. The Busted Knuckle, another one. It's like they're Irish, which is a great one.
Rock Hard Red.
Oh, Rock Hard Red's good. They just got a lot of great beers. And Janesville locals, they've been there for years. They survived Prohibition by making sodas. Just all around great brewery. We recommend you go and check them out. You can find them at a lot of the Janesville stores. I actually think I've seen Gray's around here in Muskego, Milwaukee area. The Bully Porter was actually at a festival. Yep. And it was actually at Woodman's. So you can pick that one up.
Woodman's is where I generally see it. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if they have some sort of a distribution deal with Woodman's in particular. But when I used to shop at the Woodman's when I was living in Milwaukee, that was what I would end up seeing a lot of times on their shelf.
But great beer all around. You pick it up at a lot of stores. Definitely check it out. The Bully Porter, Gray's Brewery.
Grab a seat, gather round, join us for a chat. How many locos you at?
Holy cow, folks, you know what that means. How many locos you wow? How?
All right.
This one's crazy. Garbage cans, drugs are involved. Let's just say it.
Yeah, we got ourselves a real cool one here. We are dealing with a 39-year-old lacrosse man charged Tuesday in Lacrosse County with a felony fourth offense drunk driving. I guess it would become his sixth offense depending on the outcome of the two other pending cases. So this is potential.
He doesn't give a shit anymore.
He either has a quattro or a seis. Is it seis?
You're right.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't know Spanish very well. I'm dumb. So the individual was charged with felony bail jumping, felony fourth offense operating with a restricted controlled substance, and misdemeanor operating after revocation / alcohol related.
Jesus.
So according to the criminal complaint, the La Crosse police were called January 11th, shortly after 2 a.m. to the 1700 block of Onalaska Avenue, where a vehicle operated by the individual crossed a lane of traffic and crashed into a group of garbage cans.
Watch out, Oscar.
Why? Yeah.
Jesus, Sesame Street, that bastard.
Shit's getting bad out there, I heard. So the individual was passed out in the driver's seat with the vehicle still in gear when the police arrived, but was able to give his name to first responders a short time later. The individual was transported to Gunderson Health, where he was interviewed by police. He had said earlier in the day he had taken a prescribed dose of Suboxone and a dose of lorazepam. Jesus shit.
He's in a cocktail.
Suboxone, isn't that the drug that helps you get off of drugs?
Yes.
And lorazepam is used as a anti-anxiety,
like a panic attack, anti-panic attack, correct.
So with no reference to a prescription. So he reportedly showed police an unused Suboxone sleeve, but didn't produce a prescription. Later that day, the individual said a friend drove him to several drug houses in La Crosse before he was dropped off to retrieve his own vehicle around 9 p.m. He said he was attempting to pull over at the time of the crash after determining he was too impaired to drive.
Which is probably why he hit the garbage cans, but geez.
A little late, bud. This individual has 3 previous OWIs and pending cases from July 2019 and July 2020. So that's where the potential 6 is. Because in 2021, he has another offense now. So, oh my God, where
are we going to go from here, right? We got a 39-year-old man making some bad life decisions, drugs, garbage cans, dumpy vehicles. What are we going here, right? What are we thinking here?
Well, I mean, I don't. Wow.
I don't condone any of this, by the way.
I mean, this is
Suboxone, lorazepam, Jesus. These are some
and booze
and beer involved too. So, and he has 2 pending. So this might be the SACE. This might be the number 6. This might be a veteran drinker.
Yeah, I mean, if he's.
But does you know what I mean? Like, does this guy even remember anything that's going on? Because he's so just doped up, right?
No.
I mean, he's making some really bad decisions here. And I don't know on the local level where to go because I think the drugs are probably more influential than the actual drinking, right? He's more just relaxed on the Suboxone and the lorazepam.
Wow.
So I don't know where I'm going to go on the local level. He's obviously has alcohol. He wouldn't have got a DUI, or maybe he did just get a DUI.
You can get one if it's just drugs. So maybe we got to
convert the drugs into lokes? Is that what you're thinking here?
We may, because it doesn't necessarily say he was on or drinking rather. So this might be the case of, an individual who is just so high that they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
So we got to do a conversion. And I never thought I would say this, but I feel bad for Oscar, dude. I hope he wasn't in any of those cans. I hope you're out of there, bud.
That's rough. Or, like homeless people digging through the shit. One could have been behind it. A raccoon,
dude.
Just crazy.
Jeez,
yeah.
So what are you thinking here?
I feel like I have a number.
I don't know where to go. I'm converting drugs, and I'm hoping that he has some alcohol in the system just so I can kind of find a middle ground here. But I definitely have my number.
I'm going to warn you, mine's high.
Yours is really high?
Yeah.
I think mine's pretty decent, too. I mean, it's messed up, right? I mean, we're converting Suboxone and lorazepam into 4 Locos. It doesn't say too much about the drinking.
We know it's not just, I took 1 Suboxone and 1 lorazepam. That's not going to happen.
I think there was drinking involved, too. I think there was like a mix of all 3.
And multiple other drugs. In the article, it even says he admits that his friend drove him to multiple drug houses in La Crosse.
Jeez.
And what do you do at a drug house?
You get drugs.
You do drugs.
Yeah.
You do drugs. Yeah.
To help you combat the other drugs.
Drugs and other mischievous things. So, I'm just going to come right out and say it.
Okay.
I feel like it's 24.
Okay, I was going to go 18.
Okay.
So we got to go somewhere between. You think a 22 local?
22 seems fair.
Let's hit a 22 local.
Yeah.
Eric, you want to sound that gavel? This is messed up one, but hit it. All right, today we're here with Jerry from Hurricane Jerry. You may recognize him from the country station out in the Rock County area there, and from the fishing hole with Hurricane Jerry. Hurricane Jerry, how you doing?
I'm doing good, guys, and thanks for having me be a part of your podcast. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming
you.
on. And I know I'm a huge avid fan of your podcast. Can you give us a little background on your podcast and what you're all about?
Yeah, actually, it's I've done this fishing segment for probably it'll be 5 years in October, and it's something I brought to the table when I got offered a job with Big Radio. It was Boyd's first new FM country station, where in the format itself is something different from like today's country. We do play some of today's country, but it's got to have that country feel, say like Joe Nichols and Alan Jackson, any of the newer stuff like that. And then we play some of the newer guys like Cody Jenks and let's see, Whitey Morgan, and then we'll kind of mix in a little Red Dirt. And it's if you're going to compare the station, I guess compare it to like KOKE out of Austin, Texas. So you got your George Straits, and you got your Brooks and Dunn and Reba and all that stuff. Or even we'll play Miranda Lambert, but then you'll throw in some of even today's stuff like Riley Green, and we kind of keep it real. We don't play stuff like, you know, Luke Bryan and Sam Hunt, some of the pop country that you hear, or Keith Urban. But anyways, I was offered the job, and I said, hey, I'm an avid fisherman. How about we do like a fishing segment? It'd be the only fishing segment we can do in the Rock County and Winnebago County in Illinois, since our signal reaches down there. So, but anyways, I proposed it to them. They said, well, if it don't work, we can scrap it and do something else. So, I went forward with it, and it's been pretty successful. I mean, I've had like Al Linder on. I've had some of the bigger guys on some of the television networks like Larry Smith and Jason Mitchell, to name a few. And I just not only feature the celebrity guys, but also like to bring on some of the local guides in the area too, and talk local fishing too. So
that's awesome.
I've been doing it. I've been doing it for 5 years, and do it a new show every week. So 52 shows a year, and they're all new. So
awesome.
Yeah, I'm a huge follower, and I was just gonna say too, you know, the one reason I love Iron Country is they don't have that pandering country music, you know, like the Keith Urban stuff.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and I love that stuff. Like I love country music that has that like folk story that they're telling. Like that's right, country to me, you know.
Storytelling stuff, yeah. Me, don't get me wrong, I love like Keith Urban. I'm pretty open minded when it comes to country music, but we don't play we'll play like older Blake Shelton, you know, some Beach and Austin, but we won't play some of his newer stuff because it's a little more today's country.
But, it's hard to even classify some of that stuff as country.
It is, yeah.
So, you know,
it's more pop, but it is, right?
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing.
It is.
It's good at doing what it does, and it's good pop music, and that's kind of where you leave it, you know.
It's right. Yep. It's funny because they call it the emphasis on the 2 and 4. I remember this in college theory for music. It's like so you emphasize the 2 and the 4, and that's country music today, right? I mean,
right.
You know, and I mean, I like all music. I'm pretty eclectic, honestly, to be completely honest. But I love the old country because it just reminds me of my grandpa going up north fishing.
Yeah,
you know, that's why I love that stuff. So But Jerry,
as for the show, go ahead. Yeah.
So we're gonna ask too. So I know this is kind of going under the we're looking for the hints here. So where are the lakes that you're recommending us go to right now? I know for me, Delvin has been the hot spot. What are you doing?
Yep. Well, right now I'm on in Koshkonong. Yeah. Right now, there's actually a pretty good walleye bite going on right now. So far, I mean, we haven't hit some of the bigger fish today, but we caught like white bass. We caught a few walleyes, and we just got a sauger a little bit ago, right before you guys.
Nice.
If I do get interrupted here, if we do get a fish, we'll do some play-by-play. It could get kind of hectic here. So
we're waiting to hear it. So
we'll roll with it.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
We're reeling in with you
because I've done the same thing with some of my guides I've had on the show. They've been out fishing. I've had them on the air, and they're out there with their clients, you know, and they do play-by-play with me. So
that's awesome.
Cool.
And then I was going to ask too, what's your color this year? I'm going yellow. Yellow's been my color this year. What about you?
Yeah, Well, for colors or
Yeah,
for bait?
yeah.
Fish on. We got inside board. Here, we got
Let's
one going
hear
here. Look, we might have had, nope, I don't think we have one. Hold on, because I think it was
Came
a
off?
straight.
An old tire.
Yeah, I think it came off. Yeah, we're going to reel it. We can reel it in, though. It's still on, I guess. I'm out here fishing
Cool.
with my girlfriend, so yeah.
Awesome.
I'm introducing walleye fishing to her and trolling and stuff. So
That's hard.
hang on here. I got the board here. I got to do this one-handed here.
See what you got. Let's see what you got.
Yeah, we don't want to drop the phone in, so we're going to be real careful here.
All right.
Is it not? Oh, it came off. Oh, you know what? I think we got bit off.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
we
took
got
the
that
bait.
Hook, hook.
We had a pike. I think a pike bit us off, and I just lost an $8 lure. So
Son
Oh
of a
my
gun.
gosh. Jerry, so who's winning
Yeah.
today? Is it the girlfriend or are you smoking right now?
no, the girlfriend's winning
Oof.
today. She's catching them all today. So
Nice.
I caught only one. I think she's caught probably about six
Holy cow.
or so.
I like
Yeah.
to see it.
And
Yeah.
Jerry, we were going to ask too, do you have a favorite guest that came on the show? I know I've heard Charlie Barron's talking trash to you.
Oh yeah. I've had Charlie Barron's on the show. Yeah, that's one of the most. Yeah, Charlie is an outdoorsman, and Grandpa Bob was
Grandpa
like
Bob.
a huge influence.
Nice.
Yeah, he was a huge influence for Charlie, and Charlie was on Larry's show, and I got a hold of Larry and Hunter Flanders, who produces the show and films, does most of the filming for Larry's show. And I said, hey, can you hook me up and get Charlie in the show? They said, yeah, basically, they gave me this publicist's number, and I got a hold of him, and yeah, he agreed to come on the show.
Cool.
And it's kind of cool. He was at the state fair when he's doing it. He goes, okay, I got to go hide in a corner somewhere. He goes, hang on here. And he goes, okay, do you want me in character or do you want to hear my real voice? And I'm like, well, Charlie, I said, we want to hear in character. Okay, there. Okay, here we go.
Oh, here we
Derek.
go.
We're ready
Yeah.
to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
He was a
cool.
riot. He was a total riot. And he talked about. I said, Charlie, you ever fish with bananas in a boat? No, explain it to me here. What's going on? So he said, yeah, and he thought, well, maybe I could hook it up on a treble hooking cast, and we'll catch a muskie with it or something.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty creative. But yeah.
I like it.
Jeez.
So, Jerry, where can we find more of the fishing hole, and where can we find more of Jerry?
You can actually you can also you go on our website and it's ironcountry.fm, and there's a little profile of me in there, and it kind of tells me about my interest and hobbies and all the other things, how I got in the radio and all that other stuff on there. And then as for the fishing hole itself, I've got a Facebook page, Hurricane Jerry, the fishing hole. And then what I do with the podcast there, what I do, going back to one of the questions you asked me with the podcast, we usually air the show, and then I'll put it out on a podcast either the day of or a week or two afterwards. And
Okay.
And that'll be on my Facebook page, and you can catch me on Spotify. I'm on other social media platforms with my show, my podcast on YouTube, Castbox, Spreaker, and a few of the others out there too that I can think of at the top of my head. So, but anyways, yeah, and that's basically where they can get a hold of me. Or if you got to shoot me a question too, they can do that too there.
Nice.
Awesome, Jerry. And before we let you go, we got about 8 to 10 questions to find out how Wisconsin are you. Are you ready for these bad boys?
Okay, let's fire away.
All right.
I hope there's something about beer and cheese.
There's some of that in there. So the first one I got
Okay.
for you, do you have a Quick Trip rewards card?
As a matter of fact, they're popping up everywhere, and eventually I'm going to have to get a Quick Trip rewards card. Yeah, I think I might have the application or all the info to get the app and all that stuff on my counter. But yeah, I'm almost there.
All right, sounds good. That's perfect for me. I mean, they are popping up everywhere. Quick Trip's like the nicest gas station.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So the next one we got for you, beer brats. Is there a beer you use or recommend to use in beer brats?
Beer brats, I would have to say Spotted Cow.
Spotted
Yeah,
Cow.
for beer
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, we
Yeah.
just reviewed
Yep.
that beer recently. It's funny because we were just talking about how it's like the Illinois beer. They come up here right over the border, smoke those things out right at the gas station, leave.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
They're a
yeah.
hot seller and they're good.
You want to hear a funny story about Spotted Cow? I was at a Brewer game, and the Cubs players they had their bus outside of then it was Miller Park. Now it's American Family Field. But anyways, yeah, all the Cub players. There must have been multiple cases, about 6 or 7 cases of Spotted Cow they had in their bus along with their luggage. So
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Taking a stash home.
yeah,
You got to bring it with you. If
Yeah.
you're going, it's worth gold over state lines.
Oh yeah.
right.
So, Jerry, this one's a controversial one. What do you consider to be up north? I know we're pretty far south, so it's just always an interesting one.
Yeah. I consider up north to go. I'd say Highway 10. Like I think that cuts across the middle part of the state from like Stevens Point and on up. That's usually the muskie fishing. Anything above Highway 10, muskie fishing season opens at the end of May versus in southern Wisconsin the 1st of May. So up north would be, I would say, Wausau north, Green Bay, Eau Claire. Yeah, that's all up north.
Yeah, that's pretty far up north, especially where we are. I mean, we're pretty much Illinois, right? I mean, we're like you walk a mile down the road, you're in Illinois, so that is up north. The next one I got for you is, have you been to Summerfest, and do you have a favorite band that you saw at Summerfest, Jerry?
A favorite band that I've seen at Summerfest, I'd have to go back. That's a tough one because I'm a huge Rush fan, and I saw Rush.
Oh, nice.
And their last Wisconsin appearance in, I think, 2013. So, yeah, I'd have to say Rush.
That's huge.
The Eagles are a close second. Yeah, the Eagles were a close second.
Those are two of the most iconic bands of all time.
No, right.
And the first band I ever saw at Summerfest was in '87. I think it was Cheap Tricks.
Oh, I love Cheap Trick.
Amazing.
I mean, you can't go can't go wrong. I've seen them a couple times now. You can't go wrong with Cheap Trick, honestly.
Amazing.
Nope.
Chicago boys there.
Rockford, actually.
Yeah, Rockford, yeah.
Chicago.
Rockford, yeah.
So the next one,
Robin Zander was born in my hometown in Boyd. So
Awesome.
there's your fun fact for the day.
You know what? It's funny. I actually saw his daughter out downtown in Rockford one night when I went drinking.
Nice.
It was crazy. I didn't realize it was his daughter. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? I love Cheap Trick.
Oh yeah.
You know, I was a total nerd, but hey, whatever. So Jerry, when it comes to supper clubs, do you have a favorite that you recommend?
A supper club. Oh wow. You know what? I'm going to have to go local here. And there was actually one recently, and I really liked it. And they had the best scallops. It was Frederick's Supper Club in Milton, I thought. But otherwise, you want to go up north, Bonnie Links, I think it is, or Bonnie.
Yeah.
You know, it's up by St. Germain.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah. Those would be my choices, I guess.
I'll definitely have to check out that one. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I got one more for you, Jerry. Have you ever participated at Jump Around at Camp Randall Stadium?
Absolutely, yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. I've done Jump Around at Camp Randall, a couple times.
Awesome, Jerry. Thank you so much for your time. And as avid listeners of your show, we really appreciate your time this Sunday, and we hope you enjoy your fishing today. Get a couple saugers and bring them home, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do that for you guys.
All right, sounds good, Jerry.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
thanks for coming on the show. You take it easy.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Talk to you later, Jerry. Bye.
All righty. Yeah, bye.
All right. So before we let you off the hook today, we're going to go ahead and read one of our reviews from Apple Podcasts. So this one is another 5-star.
Awesome.
And it is the person that wrote it is Great App Get It. And the title of the review is Highlight of Every Sunday Morning. They wrote, I found this podcast just looking to keep busy at work and quickly fell in love. And now every Sunday take time out of my day to sit down, listen, and learn. This is great if you want to know a bit more of Wisconsin and then learn a lot more about local breweries, Wisconsin beers, and which I can't wait to try.
That's awesome. I love that review.
Yeah.
I mean, like, my head's getting bigger.
It sums up,
to be honest.
I think it sums up really well the things that we started this whole thing for, you know, and I love it because that means that our initial vision is sort of becoming reality, which is awesome. I love it.
And I mean, our Sundays, I hate Sundays, to be honest. Like, it's cool that we can make somebody's Sunday better. You know, that's what I'm going for, right? This is just great. I mean, this one, like, hits to the heartstrings, makes my head a little bigger.
Yeah.
Can't complain, right? But thank you so much for that 5-star review. And any of you want to go on, please do it. You know, good or bad. We want to know what we can do to make this podcast better. So even the bad ones, we've had a couple. No reviews, just 1 and 2 stars, right? So nobody really told us what we did wrong. But thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right, that concludes this episode of Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast.
If you enjoyed this vulgar display of Wisconsin, please like and subscribe on whatever streaming platform you prefer. And remember to hit the bell on YouTube to be notified when we release new content.
Also, if you have any suggestions or ideas for future episodes, please send us an email at widrunkenhistory@gmail.com or head over to our Facebook and Instagram pages.
Thanks again for listening, and remember, as always,
Watch out for deer on your way home.